Now, if you think back, or if you look at the old films, especially by the ones produced and directed by Leni Riefenstahl, Hitler's film biographer, and keeping in mind that Riefenstahl framed Hitler in the best possible way to show his superiority, his super race, his Übermensch, his ability to talk about how the German people had been humiliated and beat down, and it was all because of the foreigners and the Jews and the gypsies and the liberals and the communists. And if you listen to Trump doesn't talk about enemies outside the United States. He's talking about enemies inside the United States, just like Hitler did. Exactly. I mean, I hate to belabor the point here, and I know a lot of people may disagree with this, but if you listen to Trump and listen to what he's saying and what he's not saying, the guy has nothing to offer except this, I'm a strong man, look at me, I'm powerful, I'm successful, I'm a billionaire, and these goddamn vermin who are loose inside of our precious country are destroying it. And then tonight I understand that when he was in Alabama giving the speech, he was talking about genes, genetics. I mean, we've been down this road before. And we've talked about on this program over the past 20 years, fascism in this country has always been about 2 centimeters below the surface of all this Jesus stuff and this I love America stuff and you know, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Fascism in this country is you can touch it if you want to reach out and touch it. Yes.
Well, I was just going to add to my decorating comments that, you know, I just have to say Donald Trump is starting to remind me an awful lot of Vladimir Putin. You know, I keep waiting to see photos of Donald Trump bare-chested, riding a bear or wrestling an anaconda or, you know, shooting guns at things or cuddling up with little white tigers or don't you get that feeling that he's
no, not at all. No, I really don't, Kathy. I think the comparison or any similarities between Trump and Putin are just not there. I'll stay with the Hitler analogy, and the reason for it, communism has never been a viable threat in this country, and Putin's a communist. Fascism has been a threat in this country. Well, we were founded on fascism. I mean, come on. let's just put it where it is. And keep in mind, and I'm sure a lot of you know this, that the attempt to align the United States with Hitler in the 30s was just overt. It was just right up front. The German-American Bund, the rallies at the Cow Palace in Chicago, the rallies at Madison Square Garden in New York, the rallies in San Francisco, the German-American Bund, the Nazis, the arm, the raised arm, the swastika. It sounds like something. If you're a regular listener to this program, you know I've been talking about this and around this and through this for a good 20 years. Fascism really scares the hell out of me. It really, really does. I mean, any kind of true believer-ism is scary. But fascism has a record. Fascism has a record. So does the kind, and let me just back up. Before someone sends me an email says, well, Stalin is responsible for 30 million dead and he was a communist. Stalin was a fascist. That wasn't communism that existed in the Soviet Union in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s. That wasn't communism. That was Russian-style fascism. But Hitler, who had no problem identifying the internal enemies And they were the parasites. They were the ones that had to be beaten and killed and stomped on and destroyed and gassed eventually and burned in ovens. How much distance is there between the most ferocious rhetoric of Adolf Hitler and what is beginning to generate and come out of Trump's mouth? There is a feedback loop here. Trump is such an ignorant son of a bitch. He's kind of like Hitler in that way. Just a stupid, stupid man. Remember what Hitler was? He was a goddamn house painter. He had had his brains addled by poison gas on the Eastern Front or the Western Front during World War I. Listen to what Trump says. Listen to how his rhetoric. Listen to what he says about women, what he says about immigrants, what he says, how long is it going to be? You know, he brags about, oh, I know everybody, I know the boys in Chicago, I know the police, we're going to turn everything over to the police, let them, they're just, we got to stop this political correctness. Isn't that very similar? I mean, the Jews in Germany were part of the reason that Germany was such a fantastic place. The composers, the scientists, the thinkers, the artists, the writers. And along comes Hitler. Once I started reading about Dachau and Treblinka and reading Elie Wiesel's books, and I know, there's all kinds of, I'm not talking about Israel, Palestine, I'm talking about how that kind of hatred was focused by Adolf Hitler against people who were part of the core of the greatness of Germany. And I look at what Trump is doing. He has a different Jew. His Jew is an immigrant. They rape, they murder, they're drug dealers. They come across the border. They're coming. I'm going to build a wall. I'm going to build up the military. I love guns. All right. That's enough, I guess. I'll be curious to see what this neo-Nazi had to say in Alabama tonight. Alabama is run by a guy, the governor of Alabama is a physician who denied the people of Alabama, the poor people, Medicaid expansion through Obamacare. When I say he's a physician, he's a dermatologist. He runs a bunch of clinics, but he does have an MD degree. He's also a fundamentalist Southern Baptist Christian. He's homosexuals. He's anti-women. He's anti-immigrants. He's a perfect match for Trump. Folks better start paying attention to what this funny-looking little tyrant is saying and the dismissive attitude he has about everybody except himself. And then again, I'm telling you, just if no other reason, just to satisfy what should be your curiosity, get on the Google and find some of Leni Riefenstahl's films. Look at those rallies in Nuremberg. Listen to Hitler. They'll put a translation on the bottom. Listen to what he's saying and compare it to what Trump is saying. No, I'm serious.